Sunday is a rarity for me in the cab, with me starting off with this job at Firecrest Drive. Now, this is like a private gated development very close to Whitestone Pond in Hampstead. This is actually going to the Hoxton Holborn Hotel. But as the passenger gets in, she lets me know that's just the first drop, and the second drop is actually to the National Gallery. Sweet! Now, this is actually a little bit of a weird line, as we'll see on the map. I think if we was to go exactly as the map would determine, we'd want to set ourselves up for Eversholt Street, because that sets ourselves up perfectly for Upper Woburn Place. The issue with the Hoxton Holborn Hotel, and what really influences the route a lot, is exactly where it sits on High Holborn. It's in this little one-way section. So we head down Hampstead High Street, Roslyn Hill, Haverstock Hill, and take England's Lane to get ourselves over into Primrose Hill Road. From there, right into Regent's Park Road, right into St Mark's Square, and left into Prince Albert Road. What I want to do is come down Albany Street and get ourselves out onto the Euston Road. Left Osnaburgh Terrace, right Osnaburgh Street, left Euston Road, and out that way. Euston Overpass, always over, very rarely under. You can, I've perfected this technique, you can sort of like look over like this. You have to proper get your head up in like the sun visor of your cab and like proper look through the tunnel to see if it's backed up. If you can see brake lights, yeah, probably not worth going under. We go right into Upper Woburn Place, forward Tavistock Square, forward Russell Square, Southampton Row, left into Theobald's Road, right Drake Street, forward Red Lion Square, forward Proctor Street, right High Holborn, over Southampton Row, and then just set it down on the left there. We pick up a couple of friends from the Hoxton Holborn Hotel and continue on to the National Gallery. Easy route from here. Forward into High Holborn, but left into Shaftesbury Avenue, left at Cambridge Circus, and we go down Charing Cross Road. And we just stop opposite the National Gallery here. Now, I'm actually embarrassed to admit that I didn't realise there was a difference between the National Portrait Gallery and the National Gallery. The National Portrait Gallery is on the north side, looking up Charing Cross Road, whilst the National Gallery is on the south side, looking in Trafalgar Square. So, I ask her this en route, obviously that then determines where is best that I set them. Now, there's a cab in front of me that's also dropping off, and I'm thinking I'm going to be really quick to get an on and off job. Sometimes one of the most frustrating things in a taxi is how quickly you can unload your passengers. Because there might be someone there waiting to jump straight into your taxi, but if they're faffing around with a credit card machine or not knowing how the door opens, you might then see a cab come along and sweep up the job straight away. And unfortunately, that's what happens with this job here. They jump in the cab in front. The traffic is pretty light so far. One of the things that always put me off working Sundays was the idea that you get a lot of Sunday drivers. And because parking restrictions are incredibly relaxed on a Sunday, you often get a lot of double parking going on. So there's a lot of tight streets to manoeuvre around. But this seems pretty blissful so far. Now that I'm in Central, I'm going to head to like Parliament Square area. It's Sunday. I think it's a real tourist kind of day. So I'm just putting myself in that tourist kind of mindset. And absent-mindedly, as I'm here on Parliament Street at the very bottom end of Whitehall, I have a family hail me down. They just want the Savoy Hotel. Now, I would normally instinctually just bang out a U-turn here on Whitehall, but I've gone too far. I'm down by where the railings are, by the pedestrian crossings. But this actually works better for me, because from here I can get a left into Bridge Street and then a left onto the Victoria Embankment. I'm going to go super clever here and set them at the river entrance of the Savoy Hotel. It's very rarely that I do this. Along Victoria Embankment, left in the Savoy Place, and you have the river entrance on the right hand side here. The gentleman gives me a couple of quid tip, which is awesome on a super short job like this. But I wait round a little bit just to make sure they can actually get in the door. For whatever reason, it's locked. Maybe they don't open it on Sundays.
Hop back in, I'll take you to the front. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
I just said to the family, look, hop back in and I'll take you up to the proper entrance around the front. I didn't put the meter back on for this because I'd probably have to drive up to the Strand to get my next job anyway. So this was quick and easy just to run them up there. As I drop them off, the gent gives me another couple of quid anyway. Thanks.
Here we go, this is better.
Now, a couple of jobs down, I'm feeling confident. So I park up and have a short break here on Great Queen Street. Great chance to introduce the long-term sponsor of today's shift video, and that is of course Y-Food. Now, if you've never seen these on the channel before, Y-Food are a complete meal replacement shake. I love these because their whole range tastes awesome. Take it from me, I can vouch that every single one of these flavours is awesome. You are not going to be disappointed with that. But these are great for kind of stopgaps, maybe meals that you might be missing, or when I'm at home on these long editing sessions. The new flavour I'm rocking for today's video is caramel popcorn. Look at this bad boy. I am so excited to try this one. Now, the exclusive discount that Y-Food are giving you guys is 10% off site-wide. To take advantage of the generous discount, just use my link in the description down below or the code TAXI-YouTube. You can use that on any order size, and it's not just these ready-to-drink bottles, but you can use that on their powder ranges and also their bars. They're an awesome addition to throw into your work bag, as I do on my daily shifts. And now, let's get back to work. Every time I open one, I'm like, I'll just have a little bit. I'll have a little bit. I end up drinking the whole bloody bottle. Don't drink the whole bottle. Don't drink the whole bottle. It has been a very long time since I have worked a Sunday. That is the cool thing about this job. I came to work on Saturday. I came to work on Friday. Yeah, I do like working Monday to Friday. It's a bit more rhythmic. But today feels good. I'll tell you why. Definitely less people on the street, but there is less cabs about, and most of the cabs I'm seeing have all got jobs on, so that's sweet. Sunday's a weird day in that I find it usually ends a little bit earlier. You know, my plans today got rained off. I was going to go ride my bike, but as you can see, the weather is piss poor. I might as well come and earn a bit of money. There was a big pile of jobs I had to do at home, active procrastination and just coming out to work, and I'm loving it. I just love driving around, listening to my tunes. Otherwise, if I sat at home, no doubt I'd be on Amazon, just browsing the web and just buying crap that I don't need. So I come and distract myself. Let's see how we get on. It's nearly 2 o'clock. Nice. So we set off again, and I'm thinking Sunday's going to be a day of kind of cruising the touristy areas. Shaftesbury Avenue, Oxford Street, Harrods. And as I'm heading along westbound on Shaftesbury Avenue, I almost missed this job. These people just want to go to Selfridges. There's my hypothesis in action. West End over to the shopping district. You'll probably know this one. It's fairly simple to do. There's a few ways of doing it, but crucially, it's where they want on Oxford Street, Selfridges. So up Wardour Street, left Knoll Street, and forward into Great Marlborough Street. Forward over into Maddox Street to get ourselves Grosvenor Street. These Mayfair streets are very quiet on the weekends, and then I can then come in underneath by going up Davy Street, left Brook Street, and we use Binney Street. Binney Street is an awesome little, it feels like a little rat run that just pulls you out onto Oxford Street without using traffic lights. From there, I can drop them opposite Selfridges. We get this run done super quickly. I head for a hunt along New Bond Street. Now, I'm following a blue TX4, which whenever I'm out hunting, I'm trying to get behind cabs that have got jobs on. There's no point following a cab that's also searching for a job. And you'll see, as we get to the bottom of New Bond Street, he joins the rank outside the Time and Life building. And as he does so, a hand goes up. Now, it looks like it's for me, but he is now on the designated rank. He kind of owns this area. So I let the customer know, point them over to that gent, and he gives me a bit of reciprocation as well. It's always nice when you can do this and the driver sees that you've done the right thing. Cabbie karma. Maybe that's going to give me some luck later on in this shift. Now, just outside the Royal Academy here, there's a cab that's dropping off, and I see there's a couple of people that are about to get in this driver's cab. But they see me come along, obviously available for hire, and probably disgruntled at how long the previous person's taken to get out, they hop in my taxi. This is kind of the similar situation that just happened at the National Gallery earlier on. It's the way the game goes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Great result for me. They just want to go to Chester Square, in that Belgravia, Eaton Square kind of area. So from here, we just got to spin ourselves around on Piccadilly, take the Hyde Park Corner slip road, around Duke of Wellington Place, and I come in via Grosvenor Crescent. Belgrave Square, lead by Upper Belgrave Street, forward into Lower Belgrave Street, and we get a right into Chester Square. Now there's a couple of parts of Chester Square. They don't quite communicate it to me, but they just say, can you drop us on the corner here, driver? Thinking about what kind of jobs we're going to be getting today, my only other real option is to head back to, say, Harrods. But on the way, I go past the Berkeley Hotel and I see that there is no cabs there. So I jump straight on point. Some people ask in the comments, is there a difference between like just working the streets or jumping on ranks? And from watching these videos, you might see that I kind of take a hybrid approach. Like sometimes when I go past a station, you'll see a huge line of passengers waiting to get in taxis. So that can be a good indication to join that rank. Also, I'll only really join a rank if I've just dropped off. Think about it, it's probably the worst decision if I've been driving around for an hour, not finding anyone, to then join the back of a rank where I have to wait for that to progress. Statistically, it probably makes most sense to join a rank as soon as I've dropped off. And yeah, 10 minutes or so, I have this walk up and they want to go to Argyle Square, right near the King's Cross area. Now when they get in, I'm kind of thrown by this, because if I'd done this at the same hour on a Wednesday, running it through the middle of London could be problematic. I do have a quick look on Google just to assess what the traffic conditions may be like, and I think I am going to be better off just running it straight through the middle. Traffic has been exceptionally light. Through Piccadilly Circus and up Shaftesbury Avenue, over Cambridge Circus, forward into Shaftesbury Avenue, and then we're going to get a right into High Holborn, left into Museum Street just after the Shaftesbury Theatre, and from Museum Street right into Bloomsbury Way, forward Bloomsbury Square, forward Vernon Place, and forward into Theobald's Road. We do a left at the Yorkshire Grey pub, which brings us on to Gray's Inn Road. Up Gray's Inn Road, and as we get to the top near Swinton Street, they know exactly where they are. There's no need to me go all the way around and back in on myself. They're happy to be dropped here. I would join onto the King's Cross rank, but progressing a little bit further along the Euston Road by the Standard Hotel, I pick up this gent who wants Sussex Gardens. So from one seedy area of hotels to another area of seedy hotels. Sussex Gardens. I love these runs along the Euston Road and Marylebone Road because you just drive straight. You just gotta just figure out when the bus is gonna pull in, go around it, back into the bus lane, straight. Haven't got to think about it. You just chill out and cruise along that road. Awesome. Forward into the Marylebone Road, bear left, Old Marylebone Road. And this gent can see there's a little bit of traffic up ahead, so he just asked to be stopped here before we get into Sussex Gardens. No dramas, he's done, away we go. Now, it was quite a grey and miserable day, but the sun has now come out. What felt like this kind of energy, lots of people about on the street needing cabs, has just dissipated. And this sometimes happens when the weather gets nice, people like to just go out and walk about and it just dries up the need for cabs. There's no worse feeling. You're thinking, I could be out with my mates, I could be out on my bike, I could be doing anything other than driving around in a cab, empty, looking for a job, searching. And it gets really difficult at this point. It can suck big time when you are empty for a very long time looking for a job. For instance, after dropping this bloke on Old Marylebone Road, I could have joined any one of these ranks on Oxford Street. I could have joined the M&S rank, I could have joined on Selfridges. But I naively think, nah, don't worry, I'll go for a little drive. A little drive soon becomes a long drive. And it's the weirdest feeling. It's almost like you're kind of holding your breath. You can't relax until you've got someone on. You're just constantly thinking about it. Like, extending my long drive, I head to the direction of the Royal Albert Hall. There's some rumours that the Royal Albert Hall is going to burst from the afternoon job, and I get all the way there and there's still a huge queue of taxis outside and doesn't look like much movement. I'm really desperate by this point, so I'm like circling this area and there is no movement whatsoever.
This is when the job gets pretty lonely.
So I cut my losses here and I break my own rule, and that is I join a taxi rank after a long period of searching. So gutting, but you never know how it's going to work. Like, I could have joined any one of those ranks ages ago on Oxford Street. It's about a 15-minute wait on the rank, before I get this job to De Vere Gardens. Now, you'll notice it's quite a short job. This is just down the other end of Kensington Road, just after the Royal Albert Hall that we was a moment ago. So we spin the cab around and head it down that way. Knightsbridge, forward Scotch Corner, forward Kensington Road, forward Kensington Gore, forward Kensington Road, and left into De Vere Gardens. The lady even legals me the fare. Some people think if you come out on weekends, you're going to be mega busy. Or if there's loads of people in town, you're going to be mega busy. Doesn't always go like that, as represented in this video. It can get a bit slack. I have a hunt down Exhibition Road. I have these couple of ladies that hail me down. This is where my luck turns. They're after Hampstead Garden Suburb via Sutherland Avenue. What a touch. And hearing the words Hampstead Garden Suburb, I'm already thinking, should I go home? And that's the problem with the weekends, especially when the weather turns. You think, God, I could go home and still have a bit of an afternoon, and I've come out and earned some money. Now, I quickly have a Google to see what the West Carriage Drive is doing, because we're straight on that line to go through the park. And Google thinks that the West Carriage Drive is shut. I can firmly see that it's open. So because it thinks it's shut, there's a very high likelihood there's not going to be any traffic in the park. Plays off perfectly because we get straight through to the north with barely any traffic whatsoever. Around that little bit of Sussex Gardens and up Westbourne Terrace. I always get confused between Westbourne Terrace and Gloucester Terrace because Gloucester Terrace is west of Westbourne Terrace and I don't know. But Westbourne Terrace sets you up for the Westbourne Terrace Bridge, which is what we're going to need to get ourselves onto the Harrow Road. Right, Sutherland Avenue. Left, Sorrendale Place. Yeah, I'm reading this off my phone now. Marylands Road, right, Sevington. My saving grace in the cab is cabbies, mate. Because often someone might say Sutherland Avenue, and then once you get there, they say, oh, I'm just off Sevington. And that's the more difficult bit. Like, I would never know that street. So if I've got the cabbies, mate, up on Sutherland Avenue, I'm ready for the second they say, oh, can you take me to da-da-da-da. Leave by Sutherland Avenue, Hall Road, and I get a left and right on the Grove End Road. I'm going to take the left into Loudon Road, comply by the roundabout, and lead by Fairfax Road. This is a real nice way of pulling me out onto the Finchley Road. Run it all the way up Finchley Road, right into Hoop Lane, comply by Meadway Gate, lead by Meadway, and set it down on the left there.
There's one conundrum. Do I go home because it's a Sunday, the weather's picked up a little bit? I've just got dreams of kind of just laying on my bed and doing nothing, maybe sitting down with a good book. But if I go back in, it means I've got to go work as hard on Monday. I'm in tomorrow because I've got to pick someone up from the airport. But Tuesday, maybe I could have the whole of Tuesday off. The allure of like having a day off in the week, which I probably won't do anyway. It'll probably come round and I'll be like, oh, let's go to work. Sometimes in the week, you can come in excited and you come into work hoping it's busy and it's just a real grind. It doesn't roll. So whilst I'm still in work mode, I'm going to get back in, get amongst it all, maybe treat myself to a nice dinner, and quite importantly, find somewhere to go to the toilet. That's rule. And to be fair, it's probably the best ethos to have anyway. Because even if I do go home now, what am I realistically going to do? I might as well spin the cab back round, head back into the metropolis, and work my hours. Realistically, the first place I'm thinking I could get a job would be Hampstead area. You might get some people who've headed out to Hampstead Heath or Hampstead High Street who are kind of finishing up their day. I'm rolling all the way down. It's not until I get to this final part of Hampstead High Street where it becomes Roslyn Hill where I get a hand right near the bus stop. They're just after Primrose Hill. So forward down Roslyn Hill. Rather than using England's Lane, I use Belsize Park Gardens just to cut the corner off. That brings you out by the Starbucks on England's Lane, forward into Primrose Hill Road, and they just want to be dropped here. It's probably not going to be until I get to the West End where I can get my next job. But a hand goes up on Albany Street. Now, this is a little bit different. They are at the bus stop, and usually when you get a bus stop hail,
it's generally quite a straight, direct route. Thereafter, Foley Street in Fitzrovia. Foley Street is a difficult one for me to forget because I think of the WWE, WWF wrestler Mick Foley. Also on Foley Street, you have the Attendant Coffee Shop, which is an old gents lavatory converted into a small, bougie, boutique coffee shop. Right by that little street called Ogle Street, I think it is, that brings you back out onto New Cavendish. Bosh. Nice bit of luck that we got those two jobs in relatively good succession to each other. I resentfully roll down Regent Street. I don't really like hanging out in these areas because it can be quite slow, lots of pedestrians. I like moving in the taxi, whereas I have some friends and colleagues who love going up and down the shopping districts. Anyway, we get down to the bottom of that iconic John Nash curve, and these young ladies hail me and they want to go to the Hammersmith Apollo. That's great because it's pulling me out west, so it's forcing me to work a little bit longer. Had it been another job north, I might have just cut my losses and gone home. They're a little bit flustered because they're saying they're running late, but at this point it's only about 20 past 6 and they say they've got to be at the concert for 7. In the week at this time, this could be a bit dicey with time. I double check it on the navigation and I'm able to put them at ease. The most difficult thing with this route is just getting started. I just use Jermyn Street here because depending on the light phase at Piccadilly and how many buses are in front of you, that can be just a little bit of way of cutting off time here. Right into St James's Street, left into Piccadilly. From here, practically a straight line. Forward Piccadilly Underpass, forward Knightsbridge, bare left into Brompton Road. Forward that all the way onto Cromwell Road. And before the Hammersmith flyover, we've just got to peel left because we're going to be taking the slip road off into Hammersmith Broadway and left into Queen Caroline Street. There's a bit of traffic loading them up into the Apollo. I let them pay whilst we're just gradually moving through, and when it's safe to do so, let them hop out of the taxi. They're quite quick and efficient at doing this. I'm thinking I'm just going to head down Kensington High Street. Not really interested in ranking at Hammersmith Broadway today. Could be a little bit more of a wait on a Sunday. There's no work on the way all the way back to Knightsbridge, but thankfully the traffic is light. It's about a 20-minute drive from Hammersmith all the way back to the Mandarin rank, which I try my luck on once again. Now, whilst it's only a 3-minute wait this time round on the Mandarin, the job I get is even shorter. Thereafter, the Sheraton Park Lane. Great name really because it's not actually on Park Lane, it's on Piccadilly. As they load up, the lady's got a pushchair and they're taking lots of photos of the taxi getting in. You know, wow, we're getting in a taxi, isn't this a great experience? So I use this as a perfect time to give them a sales pitch as to why London taxis are so good. Just kind of a bit of insight into the knowledge. It's amazing just how many American tourists don't know of the knowledge system that we have. So I'm always quick to give them a bit of an insight into that and how British taxis are remarkably different than just about any other taxi service in the world. I drop them off in just 3 minutes. Nice, quick, easy, efficient job, and roam the shopping streets once again. But it does take me a little while before I get my next job. Here on Regent Street at the split of Conduit Street. Now, these people just ask me for Harrods. This is something that some of the Middle Eastern customers do. They'll either say Harrods or Edgware Road as a placeholder for where they actually mean. It can be a little bit frustrating because I, as a cabbie, like to know exactly where they're going because that can have tremendous influence on what route I will take. So we go Conduit Street, Bruton Street, around Berkeley Square, leave that by Fitzmaurice Place and out onto Curzon Street, left Bolton Street, right into Piccadilly and forward into the Piccadilly Underpass, bringing us out into Knightsbridge and we bare left into Brompton Road. Surprise, surprise, as we pull up to Harrods and I say whereabouts along here, they tell me they don't actually want Harrods, they're after Montpellier Street. Yeah, I could have just said Montpellier Street, but hey-oh, we're here now. Drop them there, a little bit of faffing around with the payment, but eventually get sorted. It's super quick to get back to the West End once again, and I have this job go up on Shaftesbury Avenue. Now, super difficult hail because you'll see there's this gigantic trailer, which is presumably for one of the theatres, that's in the taxi rank. Normally, I would pull in because this isn't that popular a taxi rank. I would pull in and be able to pick the people up here. But because of where they've hailed me from, there's not a lot of options on how I can pick this up. Such is the nature of my job. If I pull up further ahead to try and pick them up, another driver might nick the job from me. I might be compromising passenger safety because they might run out into the road to sort of chase me down the road. That's not always going to be the most perfect scenario of picking up someone from the street. But it's lucky I didn't go beyond this junction because they're after the Langham Hotel. So from here, left Wardour Street, left Knoll Street, forward into Great Marlborough Street, right Poland, left Oxford Street, right Great Portland Street, left Riding House Street, right into Regent Street, and left into Langham Place. I don't think I've done this run that quick ever. Took about 4 minutes. That is light traffic, especially still at this time in the West End.
It's 8:15 now. Anything that's going to pull me in the northward direction or just out, I'm going to call that the last one. You can see kind of just how just dead it feels out here. Strange scenario is Sundays. It's great though, because I can get around. You know, that was like £8.40 from Shaftesbury Avenue to the Langham. You can just proper fly around. It's great. Trouble is, you need the work to kind of back that up. One more north, and we'll call it a night, I hope.
It's not too long before I get this job on Marylebone High Street, and they just want to go to Mayfair. They finally decide on a destination once we get moving, and they are after Clarges Street. From here, we just go straight down, all the way down Marylebone High Street, forward into Mandeville Place, forward James Street, forward into, can't think of the name of it, but that one that gets you out onto Brook Street, left Brook Street, right Davies Street, and that sets you up perfectly for the top of Berkeley Square, around Berkeley Square, Fitzmaurice Place, Curzon Street, gets you very neatly into Clarges Street. Again, there's no dramas with this. I'm loving how light the traffic is on Sunday. Because shops close earlier, and because there's less people milling around town, the work noticeably drops off a lot sooner. So I'm wanting to get one more job out of town to really finish my shift off. Back to Shaftesbury Avenue again, my hotspot for the day, and we have this group who want to go to the Melia White House Hotel. And I instantly take the first left, which is Great Windmill Street. From there we get a right into Brewer Street so we can set ourselves up for Wardour Street. This is probably one of my most favourite runs in the taxi because a lot of wiggling, but you can cut out so many traffic lights. If you did this same route from, say, Regent Street, it would easily double the time taken. And right into Great Titchfield Street, left New Cavendish Street, and right into Bolsover Street. From here, we just run it all the way forward. Luckily, Sunday, no one's coming the other way. It runs so well. That little wiggle round the bottom of Great Portland Street, forward into Albany, right Osnabrück Terrace, and bosh, setting them down on the left. That is an easy Sunday shift done. You might be wondering, what do other days look like in the taxi? Well, I'll leave an example of what a Saturday shift looks like. That'll be over here.